We turn to what many see as the major force driving changes in sports coverage, and that's the internet. The web is so vast and voracious, it might be easier to list what isn't on the net than what is. But with all that volume comes questions about information overload, about journalism, judgment, and even simple decency. Instant scores and constant updates. Any stat that's ever been computed. Highlights, breakdowns, and analysis of every game from thousands of writers in hundreds of cities. What sports fan could complain about that? But there's also this, the Wild West of the internet, the blogosphere, a virtual bulletin board where anyone can post anything, opinions, photos, videos, all blurring the lines between news and gossip, truth and rumor, commentary and insult. Among the most popular blogs is Deadspin.com, which boasts sports news without access, favor, or discretion as its motto. If you're a famous athlete, you don't want to end up on Deadspin, especially if you were out drinking the night before. The site gets 10 million hits a month. Will Leach is its 32-year-old founder.
If something's true and something is valid and something is worthwhile doing, I will do it. But I think that gets confused sometime with, all right, what can I dig up on somebody? Like, that's not what it is at all. It's just a matter of, like, if something is newsworthy enough, it will be covered. And sometimes those things are not necessarily PG, I'll say.
Bloggers, what are their credentials?
Michael Wilbon is a longtime Washington Post columnist and Pardon the Interruption co-host.
Now, I know that there's some bloggers who have great credentials. Most of them have not a damn credential. They don't know anything. It doesn't mean that their opinion isn't worth anything. I don't want to listen to their opinion unless I know what's backing it up. Where's the opinion come from? Just sitting on the couch?
You can't just make one sweeping generalization about blogs any more than you can make a sweeping generalization about artists or Swedish people or animals.
Mike Schur is a producer and writer of the NBC comedy The Office. He's also a blogger. Schur and his friends, fellow Harvard grads and Hollywood writers, started blogging a few years ago.
The name of the blog is Fire Joe Morgan. We don't have any greater dislike for Joe Morgan than about 50 other people. The point of our blog is to take things that sports journalists write or say and to sort of point out how we feel they're dumb. If someone thought it were a little infantile and juvenile, I would simply say to that person, you are entirely correct. Congratulations, don't read it.
If the sports blogosphere has a patriarch, it's Bill Simmons, ESPN's The Sports Guy. He's one of the network's biggest stars, even though he's rarely seen on TV. Like Red Sox fanatic Simmons, Will Leach is unapologetically a fan, in his case, of the St. Louis Cardinals. Just go to Deadspin and read all about it.
One of the fundamental principles of journalism is honesty and forthrightness. And I think if I pretended that I did not have my own viewpoints and I did not have my own biases, I'm not sure how that's being more truthful to the reader. I've never quite understood the idea that, like, well, now I'm a journalist, so now I cheer for no team. Really? Why'd you get into sports in the first place?
The average person would rather read someone like Bill Simmons and a list of details about the game. I mean, that information is no longer received from newspapers. That information you get on an ESPN ticker, or you get on the internet, or you get on XM radio, or whatever.
If you're really waiting to read the game story in the newspaper to find out what happened in the Cardinals game last night, you're probably over the age of 50.
I have producers. They're 40 years old. They're incredibly well-educated. They're incredibly informed. They don't care about newspapers, and that depresses the hell out of me.
And the revolution that's taking place can be unsettling. If younger fans don't appreciate real credentials and inside access, what's the future of newspaper coverage and sports journalism? The new wave doesn't appear concerned.
Anytime someone does something new or something a little bit different, everyone's like, that's not really journalism. That's not really what we do. But it's just not what you do.
I mean, we're talking about writing about sports here. Sports is like a big, fun, entertaining, dumb thing that exists in America and that everybody loves. You don't have to go to school to say, like, I think the Indians should have pulled Carmona in the 8th. The video and the blogging and the instantaneous information That is the best thing to ever happen to sports, because the internet allows fans to interact with the sports that they love better and faster and more completely than ever before. The more transparent the world is, the better off we all are. It's the basis of like democracy.
And who's going to take a position against democracy, right? Okay, joining us now at our roundtable here in New York are, as seen in the piece, Deadspin founder and editor Will Leitch, who's also the author of the book God Save the Fan, Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter and author of Friday Night Lights, Buzz Bissinger, and Cleveland Browns Pro Bowl wide receiver Braylon Edwards. All right, Will, we'll start with you. The way this was framed by you and Michael Schur is, hey, what's the problem with having more information and quicker access to it? What's the problem with somebody being able to voice their opinion? Right. Instead of just hearing it from a cab driver, now that cab driver can go on the internet, he can blog, he can be on a site, he can express his opinion. And Schur is 100% right when he says you don't need credentials in journalism to say that the Indians should pull Carmona in the eighth. But those are not the reasonable criticisms of the worst of the sports blogosphere. The reasonable criticism is of the tone of gratuitous potshots and mean-spirited abuse. That's the reasonable criticism.
You know, I think that, like, of course, any time that you realize that it's a different thing, it's not news to say that people are different online than they are in person. I think certainly in a lot of ways, there are many things that we might say in an email or might say in the comment sections or so on that we would not say in real life.
As an example, to my surprise, I find you very palatable in person.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Even likable.
Give me
talent in person, actually.
Oh, thank you. The makeup.
I'm just going to interject because I feel very strongly about this. I really think you're full of shit.
Okay, well, that's fair
Because
enough.
I think that blogs are dedicated to cruelty. They're dedicated to journalistic dishonesty. They're dedicated to speed. I am over 50. Do you know who W.C. Hines is?
Yes.
Have you ever read him?
I've read The Professional, yes.
Now tell me, you've read The Professional. Have you read his sports columns in the newspapers? Tell me who has a better ability to evoke a game and a moment? W.C. Hines, one of the greatest writers ever living until he recently died, or this guy who's printed in your thing called Deadspin. And it's amazing to me that you say sports news without access, favor, or discretion when you admit to being biased for the Cardinals. Anyway, I can't tell if this guy's name, is this guy's name Balls Deep or Big Daddy Drew Balls?
It's Big Daddy Drew. It's Big Daddy Drew.
Okay, so Balls Deep. Well, I will read a little bit. Here's insight in blogging, because it really pisses the shit out of me.
You know, until you said that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
But I'm seriously, because it is the complete dumbing down of our society. The complete dumbing down. Yes, blogs are blogs. This column, I got to tell you, I don't spend a lot of time on your blog, but I watched your blog today, and you took an item from Leach. What's his name from Vegas?
Robin Leach. Right,
yes. So you're taking an item in your blog from Robin Leach's blog about some rumor he heard about Tony Romo. You have no idea if it's true. You don't know if it's bullshit or not. But let me read about Big Daddy Balls or whatever his name is, which is in your publication, Deadspin.
He didn't need every publication.
Let me finish. He didn't need to see. Listen to this. He didn't need to see Rich Garza's tits in order to glean insight as to how he pitches. Then in parentheses, this is so fucking clever. Though I've heard Rich Garza's tits are amazing. Shit, he didn't even need to see him play on TV. The difference between how Rick Riley...
All right, we get the idea. We get the idea.
And for the record, Rich Garza's, I am not familiar with his press.
How can you be proud of that stuff? How can you be proud of it?
And how crying out.
All right, let him respond, Buzz. Go ahead.
For crying out loud. Like, you can take anything off the... Of course there's going to be... This is a different voice. This is a new thing.
That's a different voice? That's a disgusting voice.
Well, maybe you think so, and maybe some people don't.
Want to read more?
the idea that all of a sudden this group of people that have been doing this for a long time now get to decide, okay, I find this palatable, I don't find this palatable, this has worked, this is effective, I don't like this. Like, I'm sure in 30 years I'm going to sit and be like, wow, I hate the heliographic multi-links that are now.
Hold on a second. We're going to get to Braylon Edwards
in
just a moment. But Buzz, I don't know if Buzz would want to moderate his comment, but clearly that isn't everything that's on the internet in general or on blogs in particular.
Right.
There are a number of sports blogs that are well written, make good points, are insightful, and are funny. But there's a very large percentage where the quality is poor and where the tone is abusive.
Yeah, and frankly, those are not the ones that are most widely read. I think the nice things about the web is it's a meritocracy. Like, sure, anyone can start a blog, but to get a readership, you have to be serious. You have to be consistent. It's hard, goddamn work doing a blog. People have this idea that somehow it's just, oh, I just blah blah blah. Boom. This is hard work to build a readership, to bring people in that kind of understand your viewpoint. Tons of people aren't going to understand my viewpoint, clearly, but like there are those that will.
Fair enough, but this is from your website, Deadspin, all right, which is, I think, the most widely read sports website, is it not, or among them? Among them. All right. Sean Salisbury leaves ESPN. Now, these are posts. This isn't you, but you don't stop these posts from following what you put up there.
Might have been my
all right, it's HBO. Sean Salisbury leaves. Good riddance, fuckface. So long, you fetus-faced windbag. Good luck managing a Denny's, douchebag.
Yeah, those are commenters. Those are, okay, seriously. I mean, like, if we really can't differentiate between someone that writes a blog and the random people that comment afterwards,
No,
I mean, they are two different
we
things.
make that distinction. However, the tone that's established affects the posts.
No, I think that's true.
It affects the person. And it affects the person. And what does it add? What does it contribute? What does it contribute? I got a list here. I got a list of things.
We got to get Braylon in. Braylon.